All right, so we're back here live in Harrisonville, and I asked one of a coach that you guys might know to come up here, and he is headed up here. We'll see if we can get him on the air here in a few minutes as well. This is what's great about the community of Harrisonville, and I'll see if Gary's listening, he can jump in whenever he wants to, but it's really a family affair today. I mean, you go all over. We had Coach Meeks here for the 9 o'clock game, Judson on his team. You have Coach Schenker, head coach of the football team. He's here. I'm assuming he's got somebody he's watching on this game. He's got all these kids. I don't know who's who. Oh, so he's here. See, he's here with the wife. She brought you out today. So, yes, I forget she's a first grade teacher. So she's got kids playing. Then you look down on the floor, we have Coach Middleton, who is the high school girls coach. She's coaching the first and second grade team. You have Coach Rorvig over here, who is the assistant principal at the high school, who also coached with Angela over the years. I've been trying to ask whenever you want to, if they want to come up after. I told Coach Rorvig I wanted an exclusive interview after the game. So we've got Coach Schenker up here as well. We got all kinds of stuff going on. We're supposed to have the ladies from Hope Haven coming here at around 11. We're going to present them a check as well, which is awesome. That's what we're here for today. We're here to celebrate our youth basketball players, but we're also here to celebrate the fact that we were able to raise $1,650 for Hope Haven of Cass County, which is what we're here, plus not to mention a whole ton of supplies that we were able to collect as well. It's been a fun time so far. Gary's probably looking at his watch saying, but it's only 11 o'clock. We're three games in, but it is definitely fun to watch. And I think Coach Seth is going to try to bring us up some rosters as well. Coach Rorvig, Mr. Rorvig told me that I told him, I said, you'll always be coach to me, because when he first started, he was a coach. He coached with Angela, actually, volleyball, and then also assistant on the basketball team as well with Coach Mercer, and I believe Coach I'm at one point in time as well. So he has definitely coached. He goes, well, you can find my daughter out there. She's the one that runs like a deer. And she kind of gallops down the floor. So hopefully we'll get those up here in a few minutes as well. And I'll see. Maybe we can get Coach. See if I can get Coach on here. He's got a loud mouth, right? You're loud, Coach.
I hope it's not that loud.
All right, so we have head coach of the Harrisonville football program, Coach Kyle Schenker. And Coach Schenker, we talked to Coach Langer a little bit ago, and you can probably reiterate this, how important youth sports is to building a successful high school program.
Well, yeah, it's really nice to start from the very bottom like that. Just get everybody interested, and like you said, it's a family affair. It's a community. You get your community. It's just a great sense of pride, and the earlier you can get them started and get them going, the kids interested in doing those things, and it's just a great thing to get things and get kids started early and get them active, and it's just healthy, and it's just there's nothing really bad about it.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, the competition level, getting them to understand, even at a young age, wins and losses, like everything doesn't always come out rosy at the end of the day sometimes, and they've got to understand that part of it. That's what's awesome. The community part of it, it's just so exciting for me. We've got you here. Your wife's a first grade teacher. She's watching a lot of her kids play. Then you have Coach Rorvig out there. I'll always call him Coach, even though he's the assistant principal.
Exactly.
He's always going to be Coach. He coached for years. And then you have Coach Middleton out there, who is actually the varsity girls coach. And then you have Coach Messenger from Pleasant Hill. He's the boys coach at Pleasant Hill. He's sitting down there watching, I believe, his daughter play. So it's so awesome to see, other communities, too, playing against each other. You get to know, it becomes a fraternity, so to speak, over the years. Everybody, parents getting involved in, coaches at the high school level getting involved in the youth stuff as well.
Yeah, it's just really neat how everybody comes together for, and just, it's just nice how everybody, it's just a family atmosphere, and everybody enjoys everybody, and you get to see everybody in different settings. Like I say, I'm here with my wife. She's watching some of her students play, and it's just another time to get out and hang out with her. It's just enjoyable, and you just can't beat that. And it is neat to see everybody from different communities, and it's just a nice togetherness about everything.
Well, I got to know, how much are you itching to get back on that football field?
Well, we hope. I don't know how it's all going to look. We hope we can kind of get through, and with vaccinations and everything, and hope we can kind of get everything cleaned up. The biggest thing, our biggest concentration right now is the weight room. I think that's where it's at. The stronger and more stable that you are, and your kids can be, then the better off they're going to be, and also it's also going to prevent those injuries. And that is our number one aspect in our program, and I think honestly, I think it should be the number one aspect of any athletic program. Plus, it's just a great lifetime activity and skill. But that is huge for us right now. And we have a great core of kids from, seventh grade up. We've got after school on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. We've got probably 40 to 50 kids at the middle school going through strength training. And then we've got another 20, 25 kids that aren't in a winter sport up at the high school. And, of course, we really push our kids to if you're not doing another sport, which we really recommend, we love our kids to be multi-sport athletes. But if you're not, then we think, we really want you in the weight room, because that's where you can really make yourself. You can transform yourself into a heck of an athlete just by pushing and pulling a lot of weight.
Well, you look at a kid like Kennedy Atkinson.
Exactly.
This kid broke his leg a couple of years ago and is the top rebounder in the Kansas City metro area in basketball now. Came on at the end of the year as a receiver for you guys, catching a lot of balls in the end zone. And I know you've got to be itching. We're itching to get back out there this fall. You lose a lot of key contributors, but it's good to be able to start with a all-state running back in the backfield coming back next year.
Yeah, we have a lot. We lost some really good kids, and that's every year. And you wish those kids the best, and you're always going to miss them, and you miss the relationships and that you create with those kids. But yeah, and you just have a brand new bunch that comes in and steps in, and you really look forward to that. And it's really neat to watch how kids develop, and how they change, and how their attitude becomes now it's time for me to kind of step into a role, and it's just neat to see how everybody grows.
Well, when they started down here at this level, and now they're in the high school level. You look at Jace Reynolds, and Coach Meeks and I were having a talk at practice one of the days, and he goes, I had to slow Jace down. He goes, it was like the first day. He goes, it was the first day after last game of the season. He was like, all right, guys, let's go. We got to get in the weight room. He goes, Jace, you're going to kill these kids. They're not going to want to go out and do anything in the fall. But it's good to have leaders like that in your locker room. So I'm glad you got to come. I'm not going to keep you any longer because I know you want to get back down and have a good morning with your wife and watch her kids play. But I appreciate you coming up and giving us a couple minutes.
Well, thank you so much. It's always good to talk with you guys. I really appreciate it. So thanks for everything you guys do.
Thank you. We've got a wireless mic. I tried to talk Coach Meeks into wearing it for a game. We may have to put it on one of you guys during the game. We'll get that halftime interview. We'll do it. Thanks a lot, Coach. It was a good one. That was Coach Kyle Schenker, Harrisonville High School football coach, head football coach. And, that's what it's all about, Gary, is just the community that we're in right here. You look at it, and it's awesome to be a part of when you got all the high school coaches here watching games that they have anybody participating in.
Because they know they're going to be in high school at some point in time, and they're going to provide support to their program as they come of age. I'm going to mention really quick, 5:32 left in the first here. This is going to be Pleasant Hill and Harrisonville. I'm going to go through the names real quick. For the home Harrisonville, it's Reagan Middleton, Charlie Bollinger, Emma Rorvig. Now we know why Rorvig's here, obviously. Harper Shoemaker, Jabria Spratt, Brooklyn Cecil, Autumn Brown, and Summer Brown. And for the visitor, Pleasant Hill, Lydia, just have first names.
Lydia C. and Lydia H.
Right. Isaiah, Phoenix, Nora, Felicity, Zoe, and Charlotte. That's for Pleasant Hill, and Pleasant Hill's up 4-2 as we're watching the game with 4:45 left. I'm also going to go through the sponsors real quick because they're what's made it possible for us to be able to be here today. And that's Mills Plumbing, Signature Will and Trust, Troby's Maytag Home Appliance Center, Holland Auto Sales, Lacey Dominic Shelter Insurance, Young's Tire Wheel, and Young's Auto Repair, American Heritage, Atkinson Funeral Home, Cider House, Amazing Photography, Schroeder Chiropractic, Hometown Flooring, Excalibur Contracting, The Girls, Young's Construction, Yannon Land and Sand Power Sports and Turf, Aflac Jerry and Sasonis, The Barber's Edge Church and Dwight, Sherwood Community Bank, and Yard Designs Cass County. They're the ones that have made this possible for us to be able to be here today. And number one, made it possible to be able to provide a financial contribution to Hope Haven in our Hoops for Hope basketball tournament here today. And also a lot of other things that were provided, such as diapers, clothes, and things of that nature.
Well, and you know what was awesome? What's awesome about that is I can go down this list. I can tell you the owners, every one of these companies. I can tell you that I've probably done business with each and every one of them as well. And that's what's awesome about community. You go to small towns, it isn't the Walmarts and the Sutherlands and the bigger corporations that keep these towns in business. It's the small ones. It's the Mills Plumbing. It's the Troby's Maytag Home Appliance Center. You know, Erlene, every time I walk in the summer for fall football, she says, you got to say it. And I always have to go and say, and that's another Troby's Maytag Home Appliance Center first down. Think Troby's first when you think home appliances. And guess what?
Got that memorized.
I've said it a time or two. We have a human first down on the football team in the form of Jace Reynolds. So we've said it a lot. But that's part of everything. It's been awesome. We're having so much fun. And we got the first and second grade girls playing right now. We have a third and fourth grade game coming up after this. And it's just been a blast so far.
It has been. You know, it's kind of fun because it's been a long time since I've been involved in this age group as far as youth sports. And it's always nice to be able to go and obviously see what we're going to be watching in football on Friday nights and during the week on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays in basketball. These are our future athletes for Harrisonville and for those other towns that are coming here today, like Pleasant Hill, like Grain Valley and stuff. Like you're talking about Coach Messenger's here because Pleasant Hill's playing today.
Here's another funny one. As we're talking about all these coaches that are here, the head volleyball coach is working out on the track and running around. It was Coach Lyon. I know she got married. I don't remember what she changed it to, but Coach Lyon up here, she's working out on a Saturday. So it truly is everybody in the family of Harrisonville is here.
And that's a promotion for our city, for the community center, for the city of Harrisonville, for those opportunities they provide, as much as, you know, what's provided for Hope Haven. That's why we're here today. You know, that's why this is Hoops for Hope. It's to provide financial assistance and other assistance to Hope Haven for those that need assistance. And so we're very excited and happy that we can be able to do that. So,
me and my wife, we've talked, obviously she's an assistant principal over in Holden right now. I'm student teaching up at Ray Peck, and, we're going to be around this area for a while, and we would love, we have 4 T's here in town, and one of the things that you look at when you get the community involved and you get all of that going is the sense of community on like a homecoming. We've talked about, hey, do we want to stay in Harrisonville? Do we want to build a house here? What do we want to do? Well, what's great about that is these kids understand community. You go to a Blue Springs, there's a little bit of community there, or a Lee Summit, but those kids don't understand what homecoming really is. We have homecoming in the fall. Everybody comes back. I mean, we broadcasted a couple years ago. We didn't have the parade this fall because of COVID, obviously, but, we broadcast it. And we had like 300 some people watch because they couldn't come back home, and that sense of pride. And there's something really to be said about that.
Oh, yeah, it is, and it's wonderful to be part of your community and to be able to help provide that support, whether it be financial or otherwise. And, talking about the sponsors that we just went down, a lot of those sponsors are the same sponsors you're going to hear day in and day out when we're on the air for a football or a basketball game, because they have stepped up and supported this function as well. So we really appreciate their help, and we ask that you to support them locally as well when you think about doing your business as far as purchases or otherwise. So it's in the last minute of the first, 8-2 is Pleasant Hill over Harrisonville right now, and they've got the ball, trying to find somebody to throw to.
And you know what I love about this? You're watching them go back and forth. Is them playing defense, and that's one of the hardest things to teach your kids at this age is about the defensive side. And you'll notice when they come back down here, there's a girl guarding on the blocks down here, and she's guarding this girl, and she is up in her business.
Oh, she is.
And the other girl is getting super frustrated. She's like, she's trying to get a shot off. But it's fun to see some of these kids start to pick up those early fundamentals of basketball. I told Braxton made a bucket in his game, and I told Braxton, I said, you know why you made that basket? Because you rebounded and you put it back up. I said, you got to rebound. You do those little things that'll give you a chance at baskets, and he was able to make a basket, so that was fun to see him make that.
Kind of like one of those persons he watches on basketball, on our basketball team, Kennedy Atkinson.
And we may bring Braxton on a little bit later. We may ask him some of that stuff and talk to him a little bit about that, and that would be fun as well. We're going to take a breather. We're going to be back. I just spoke briefly with Desi Long of Hope Haven, Cass County. She's going to be here shortly. So we are going to have her on. And I see one of the athletes that's getting ready to graduate soon, Colin Carruthers. He just had shoulder surgery. We may bring him on here in a little bit as well.
We all have a checklist when it comes to getting car care. No matter what is on your list, convenience, knowledge, affordability, friendliness, Colby's Car Clinic has you covered. Convenience is being right here in Harrisonville and taking care of all car care problems. From an oil change to tires and everything in between, it's your only stop. Knowledge is covered with having an ASE certified master technician. Affordability means they will work with you to not break your budget. And friendliness greets you each time you walk in the door as they treat you like an old friend. Go see Colby and the gang right behind O'Reilly's in the Big Blue Building.
Does your lawn need some TLC? Owned and operated by 3 generations of Wildcats, Held's Turf Farm is your local stop for sod and topsoil since 1971. Whether you need one roll of sod, a scoop of dirt, or a whole truckload, they have you covered. A new home in your future? Give us a call at 816-540-2020 and set up a quote for new sod installation. Held's Turf Farm is located between Harrisonville and Pleasant Hill and is open 8 to 5 weekdays and 8 to noon on Saturdays.
When it comes to fast service and reasonable prices, Young's Auto Repair is the
All right, so we're back here live from Hope Haven. We're live from Hope Haven, we're live from the Community Center for Hoops for Hope Haven, and that brings us to Desi Long, who is the social media coordinator. What exactly is your title over at Hope Haven?
So my official title is Director of Development at Hope Haven.
So tell us a little bit. I'll let you know more about Hope Haven than I do, so I'm going to let you go and you tell us about Hope Haven.
Okay, so Hope Haven of Cass County is the only domestic and sexual violence program in the county. We serve men, women, children, and their pets. We have an emergency shelter and an outreach program. The only difference between those is that those in the outreach program already have a safe place to stay, so they don't need the emergency shelter. With our emergency shelter, we have an on-site pet shelter for pets fleeing domestic violence with their families. Only 17% of domestic violence programs in the nation have pet shelters like that. And we actually just had ours renovated, so it's a beautiful space. We do one-on-one case management with every victim or survivor that comes through our door. Everybody has unique obstacles that they're facing, so they need a unique plan and unique solutions to overcome that, to be able to get back into a life that's safe and free from abuse, because everybody deserves that. So we'll do things like case management, budgeting, we'll help with job assistance, like we'll help them find places that are hiring, fill out the application, go over their resume. We'll do court advocacy. We have a youth advocate to work one-on-one with kiddos and families. We do a lot. I mean,
well, tell me a little bit, like what the process is like when you bring somebody to the emergency shelter. What is that process? What's that timeline like usually for somebody to try to get them set back up in a normal routine?
So we are currently averaging a 45-night stay per household. So a household could just be the individual, or a household could be a mom with kiddos. Because we only serve men in our outreach program right now, so we only serve women, children, and pets in our emergency shelter. But they get there and they'll meet with their case manager within 48 hours, and they'll start setting their goals. And whether that goal is, geared toward healing, or if they're ready to get a job, or if they have a job and they're just trying to maintain and get back on their feet, that they will go over all that with their case manager and set those goals for themselves.
Okay, another thing is, I know it's always changing what you need at the shelter. What are some of the things you guys are really in need of right now?
So we always need slippers. So for safety purposes, you have to have some shoes on through the emergency shelter, but nobody wants to relax in like tennis shoes. We've had people come to us with nothing but like big, oversized like snow boots, and that's just not comfortable. Like, we want them to be comfortable. This is their temporary home. So we're always looking for slippers, women and children, like all sizes. Diapers is a big one, especially those size 4, 5, and 6. We always seem to get a lot of kiddos in that size. Groceries, any kind of groceries. We're always either filling our community pantry or we're filling the pantry at the emergency shelter, because we do provide everything from hygiene products to groceries to clothes. People can come to us with literally just the clothes on their back, and we'll have everything else that they could need.
The hygiene stuff a lot of people don't think of every day, the toothbrush, the toothpaste, the comb, the brush, things of that nature, which people really don't, they take for granted the things that they've got at the house. They just open a drawer and there it is.
Yep.
They don't realize that some of these women, especially, that when they walk out, they have absolutely nothing.
Exactly. And what we're trying to do now is we're trying to get like full-size bottles of like shampoos and conditioners and body washes of like different brands and different kinds. So when they come in, we can give them like a full, nice bottle of whatever they need, and they can kind of like pick out, more what they need, because there's tons of shampoos and conditioners for different hair types and different body washes and everything, and we want them to be able to have that choice. Like,
Sure.
It's all about empowerment, and that comes from them being able to choose. And also, if we're averaging 45-night stays, like the travel bottles, the smaller bottles, they're not lasting.
Right. Well, and we talked about the food box earlier outside the administrative office. Is that there's also times, though, that maybe that's full. I mean, I was stopped by the other day, put some stuff in it, and it kind of filled it up a little bit. But they can also bring it into inside to you all and give it to you. And you've also got the place at the back to bring furniture and larger items as well. So you talk a little bit about that.
So with the pantry, one of our volunteers, he actually comes by and checks it like every day and keeps it stocked. So if it is ever full and you have a food donation for it, like just come to the door and we can keep it inside until the pantry's ready to be restocked. Items and stuff like furniture and everything, contact me for that. Those needs are always changing. And unfortunately, we're limited on storage space for items like that. So as much as I would love to take it all and keep it all, we don't always have space for the large items unless it's an absolute need.
Well, and the good thing about it is, though, if somebody's got the time to hold on to it, you're always trying to provide that product or that assistance as somebody moves out. So they're going to take stuff with them. So you're always going to have some open thought after that. So I wanted to read something to you. I'm sure you're probably not aware of this. This is more close to me. My wife was a director of Hope Haven for years. She's local here. That's Denise Davidson, and she was a director. But her mother, a lady by the name of Margaret Coons, was one of the original fundraisers. And this is in one of the cookbooks my wife bought.
Oh, I love it.
And so I'm going to read it just so I can just read it how it says. And it's Hope Haven of Cass County Fundraising Committee would like to dedicate this book in the loving memory of Margaret Coons. Margaret played a very vital part and role in the fundraising committee. With her hard work and help with this, we were able to put us on our way to reaching the goal of building a shelter for battered women and their children. Unfortunately, she was on the fundraising committee, but before Hope Haven really got started, she passed away with cancer, and so that was the reason. My wife's got, like I said, 3 or 4 of the cookbooks. I don't know if y'all still do that or not, but you could buy those cookbooks, and it had a little. And I've got about like 4 pictures of different things about the history of Hope Haven. So it is important to close to our heart because of not only my mother-in-law who's deceased, but my wife who was a member of the directorship of Hope Haven many years ago. So I wanted to bring that out. I was going to say that, and I'm going to say that later on in the day because not everybody's going to listen all day long. But we really appreciate all that Hope Haven provides to those in need. I'm glad you mentioned men. I've been talking all morning about women and their children, and we realize that that's what this shelter is for. But I'm glad that you mentioned that there are some men that need those needs out there and how you be able to do that.
Actually, it's 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men have experienced some kind of physical violence by an intimate partner. So it's actually more than some men. It's too commonplace. Domestic violence is too common,
right.
And we need to be more aware, and we need to stop it.
And know that help is out there if you need it. I mean,
absolutely.
Truly, that's the biggest thing. A lot of people don't reach out to that when they really need the help, and it gets them into a worse situation, sometimes in a deadly situation. And obviously, we don't want them to get to that. So.
Yeah.
Well, and I want to talk a little bit more about this because I think it's important. It's obviously the reason we're doing it today. But we were also able to have some amazing businesses step up, and we want to be able to present you guys with this check. Now, you can't cash this one. We got a real one for you. But we were able to raise $1,650 for you guys to take. And so we have a check for you guys, and we were able to bring this to you guys. We are so glad that our community stepped up and stepped forward for you guys.
We love our community. We love being here. We love the support we get from everybody, and it's amazing. This is amazing.
Well, I am glad you get to take this, and you also are going to get to take some supplies. We have a ton of supplies. I don't know if you noticed when you walked in, but there's a gigantic box by the front door.
Okay.
That is full of stuff for you guys. And I know that my son has been so excited each week we come to practice that more and more stuff has got in there. And, we want him to have a giving heart when he gets older because everybody's always in need. And he's been so excited every week it gets more and more. And he's like, Dad, it's overfilled now. It's so awesome.
I love it.
I've seen some straighteners in there. I've seen all kinds of different stuff.
That's awesome.
So there's tons of stuff. My wife has rocked it with the diapers. We're going to get those to you probably Monday. I think we're going to set up a time to get Jerry to get over there to get you a lot of this stuff today. So Thanks a lot. We're going to take a quick timeout. We're going to put it on the game, and we'll come back, and we'll talk a little bit more about Hope Haven after this.
Okay, we're back to the game. There's 5:55 left in the third. Pleasant Hill's up 14-9. Harrisonville's come back a little bit to make it a little bit more of a game.
And that tells you those free throws.
Oh, absolutely.
The free throws you have at halftime can change the game. We'll get Desi back in here in a minute. She's doing a couple of things. We'll get her headphones back on, and we'll talk a little bit more about Hope Haven and just everything going on with them in case somebody didn't hear it earlier or any of that. But what's fun is business has picked up, is what we like to say in the industry, Gary.
It has, and it's wonderful to not only be doing this, for Hope Haven, but promote our community, those that gave to help us put this on, and also gave to help Hope Haven. And I'm going to go through some of the players real quick, so everybody will know who it is. Reagan for Harrisonville, Reagan Middleton. Charlie Bollinger, Emma Rorvig, Harper Shoemaker, Jabra Spratt, Brooklyn Cecil, Autumn Brown, and Summer Brown. For Pleasant Hill, Lydia C., Lydia H., Isaiah, Phoenix, Nora, Felicity, Joey, and Charlotte. That is for the visitors, Harrisonville. And I think we're going to get her back on so we can talk a little bit more about Hope Haven and the reason actually why we're here today.
Okay, so obviously you don't give location for where the domestic violence shelter is for obvious reasons. But tell us where your corporate office is if somebody wanted to donate things or if they wanted to get a hold of you guys to do that.
So you can find us at 200 North Oakland Street here in Harrisonville. We're right across the street from Lord's Park.
Everybody knows where Lord's Park's at.
Yes. And we are there Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. We have business hours there. Our offices are there. So our case managers have offices over there. My office is over there. Our executive director and assistant director is over there. Our case managers go back and forth because they'll go to the shelter to meet with everybody. But, yeah, we're all housed out of that outreach office.
A couple of things. One, a phone number they could call there, and also an 800 number for somebody in need.
So to get to our office, it's 816-380-2833. If somebody is in need, we have our 24/7 crisis line, which is 816-380-4663. And there is a actual live person answering that phone 24/7, whether it's Christmas, whether it's Thanksgiving, whether it's 2 a.m., whether it's 3 p.m. There is a trauma-informed advocate there ready to take the call.
And that's obviously important because of the fact that you want somebody there that's skilled to know how to talk to those individuals that call in that are in a crisis situation, because they're emotionally not thinking of things probably as the way a normal person without any crisis would be. So you've got that person on the other end of the phone that can help you not only through that crisis you're in right now, but also give you the opportunity of ways to reach out for help and what help is available to them.
Yeah, so they'll safety plan with them. So they will help figure out where they're at now, where they're trying to get, and what's the safest way for that individual to get from point A to point B. And then sometimes that initial contact, that first phone call is so important because you want to make sure, like, when somebody's disclosing abuse to you, that you believe them and that you are patient. And, you know, there's a lot that goes into it, because if they have a poor initial contact with somebody, they might not reach out again.
Right.
So,
yeah, and that is important because you want them to always reach out anytime they have need, and a poor first impression can sometimes turn somebody off for that. So obviously you've got that opportunity, which makes it very important for those people in need.
Yeah, because statistically in the state of Missouri, it takes an average of 7 times for a victim to officially leave their abuser. So,
And I was just going to discuss that. I wanted to discuss how important it is to be loud the first time instead of waiting 6, 7, 10, or, you know, maybe there's a possibility somebody's watching right now and they're thinking about it and they're like, wow, there is somebody out there. It's just so important that they know there's always somebody there for them and that they're not going to be alone in this struggle if they need to leave.
Oh, absolutely not. That's what Hope Haven's here for. We're here to be your support system. Unfortunately, one very common tactic of abuse is isolation. So that abuser will take the victim away from their family, away from their friends. They can't have a job. That goes into financial abuse. That's a different realm. But there's a lot that just snowballs from it, and then they don't know who to call. Like, can you call mom who you haven't talked to in 3 years? Can you call your friend you haven't seen in 5 years? But, you know, you can always call Hope Haven, and we're here, and we will be that support system, and we will empower you back to safety and on your feet.
Well, you talk about the isolation. That is a very important part of the psychological portion of the abuser, because they want to control the situation. A lot of times, that time when they have that phone may be the only time they're going to have that phone too. So it goes back to that initial contact, and you all getting the information you all need to maybe try to get them help or get law enforcement there, because you sure don't want to miss that opportunity. And you also want those that are needing help to reach out sooner than later, because sometimes, as we all know, that abuse can turn deadly and or seriously injured, not only to the spouse, but also to children. And there's a lot of physical, and a lot along goes with that is the mental abuse that goes along with the children as well.
Oh yes, no, it goes hand in hand, and you know, typically, if there's one kind of abuse, there's going to be more kinds of abuse. And going back to it being deadly, so strangulation. So a lot of victims, they've been, you know, choked, but it's really strangled. If it's from the outside, it's strangulation, and that actually really increases their chance of being killed by their abuser, and that increases, you know, anybody that intervenes, their chance of also being killed by that abuser, because they want that power, they need that power and control over that victim and that situation. And it gets really scary really fast.
It does, and you bring up a good point, because you look at those things that maybe somebody that's watching or somebody that knows somebody, the strangulation part of it, that is part of it. And maybe somebody is having that strangulation brought towards them in a physical way, but they may not realize that that's what really is happening to them. And so obviously we as being here, and also you, want anybody that's in any type of an abusive situation please reach out the first time, because it's important to not only their health and safety, but also their loved ones, their children, or anybody else that's involved in it.
Absolutely.
You know, I really think we need to get you two guys together for a segment, because I don't know if you know, Gary is retired highway patrolman. So
Okay.
he definitely, that's why you guys, I can tell you guys have firsthand knowledge of this. There's not too many times, Gary gives me a hard time, there's not too many times that I don't talk. And I'm going to be real honest, it's been awesome to listen to you guys go back and forth. I want you, Desi, to talk a little bit about not the program, but the series you were doing this week with football and domestic violence, with the Super Bowl coming up tomorrow. I want you to talk a little bit about this, because people probably don't think about this.
So I found it interesting. I get really, I don't want to say nerdy, like it's a bad thing, but I get really invested in my research, and I will pull articles and statistics and everything. So I found it really interesting when I found an article that shows a spike in reports and domestic violence on football Sundays. It doesn't just have to be the Super Bowl, but any football Sunday where your team's playing. And it was interesting because it was more likely to happen when it was called an upset loss. So when your home team was supposed to win and they didn't, because I didn't know what an upset loss was. I had to look that one up. And it's just interesting because they also talk about the different factors that people do on football Sunday, the drinking, and they're emotionally invested in the game and they get upset, which those are not causes of domestic violence, but they can amplify it. So I found that really interesting. Another thing with the Super Bowl is human trafficking. So there is no evidence to support that the Super Bowl increases human trafficking. It's happening everywhere, every day, all the time. We need to be aware of it, every day out of the year, not just for Super Bowl Sunday. They have seen slight upticks in calls to hotlines and reports for human trafficking, but they have just accounted that to the fact that they're bringing awareness about human trafficking to the Super Bowl, so more people are educated and know what to look for and can make those calls. Which is why it's really great being able to talk to you guys, because we can talk about the strangulation part and these parts that some people don't know or realize, and education is so important around these things.
Well, I know they talked about human trafficking last year really significantly before the Super Bowl. You bring up the Super Bowl or events like Sunday games. Holidays, more importantly Christmas and Thanksgiving, are also very big times when domestic violence seems to increase. Stress, a lot of things going on because you're trying to buy presents, money problems, and things of that nature. So those are two other times when you really have that. Chad brings up me. It's really a lot of this information comes from my wife. I mean, my wife spent over 30 years in law enforcement here at Cass County, and so she saw it close and personal. Through her job. I mean, I kind of live it through her, and then the little portions that I had it. But I mean, a lot of that comes from opportunity to be around her and understand really a lot of this that goes on, and obviously a lot of the things that she did back in years when she was a director there. So it's wonderful to do this, but I think probably the most important part of this whole day is being able to talk to her and get this information out, and hopefully somebody is listening. If we've helped one person, we've done something good.
It's been worth it.
It has been.
And the other part of it we haven't really talked about, and she might have mentioned it a little bit ago, and there's all kinds of things going on, so I might have missed this. And if you did talk about it, I apologize. But the mental abuse that goes on. A lot of people don't realize a lot of times the mental abuse is worse than the physical abuse, because it causes suicide and other things.
Yeah, so trauma in the brain is really interesting, and that can be a whole day-long topic on its in itself. But it's so serious. It is. It causes anxiety, depression, PTSD that can lead to suicidal thoughts, ideations, following through with suicide. It leads to a whole slew of things, and it doesn't just heal. It's not a bruise that just goes away. I've worked one-on-one with a lot of women. So I was the youth advocate and then the sexual assault advocate before I took the role as director of development. So I have worked one-on-one with many women who would rather just take a beating than the mental abuse, because the bruise will heal, the bone will heal, all that will heal, but the mental abuse just like really sticks with them, and that takes medication sometimes, that takes counseling, that takes a lot to heal from that mental abuse, a lot more than just a cast for a few weeks or something. And
yeah, and you mentioned the counseling, the therapy. That's something that they really, really need, because it doesn't heal without the help. You've got to be able to talk it out. You've got to be able to talk to somebody that's experienced on how to help them deal with that mental abuse that is, you're right, sometimes it's probably more or worse than the physical itself. And again, then we talk about the mental abuse that the children have to go through, seeing this, and the therapy that they really need to go through to be able to help them deal with it. Because I know probably a statistic, if you're going to say this, is when you have abuse, it continues.
yes, absolutely. So a child that is exposed to abuse, if a child is in the home with abuse, the child is exposed to abuse. Whether you think they hear it, whether you wait until after they go to bed to,
Kids hear things.
They do. They know what's going on. Whether they are aware and able to put a word to it, maybe not, but they know what's going on, and they are more likely to grow up and be an abuser or be a victim. But they're very likely to fall back into that cycle of violence just like their parents have.
Right, and so again, that's where the therapy really helps. Not only the adult in the relationship, but also the children that are coming out of that relationship, because you want to stop that at some point in time from it continuing on from generation to generation.
Exactly, because we need them to know that that's not normal. That's not normal. Trauma is not normal.
Right. Well, we could continue talking as long as you're concerned.
I want to wrap it up, but I was so glad that you were able to come here today. I was so glad that we were able to bring attention to what you guys are doing at Hope Haven, and let people know, Hope Haven is just not a Harrisonville, Cass County thing. Is this a nationwide company, or is this like a Midwestern?
So we are the only one of us, but we will serve anybody from anywhere. So we get people that call from out of state that are trying to get closer, to Kansas City where their family is, because again, that abuser took them, isolated them. We get people calling locally. We get people calling from the city, and we'll serve anybody that calls us and needs us.
Yeah, what is your capacity? I can't remember. I know because there's been times when you've been at capacity, and how you handle that.
So we have a 33-bed shelter, but right now with COVID, we have to operate at half capacity. So we have 9 bedrooms, which means we can serve 9 households.
So what do the abusers do, or what are those that are needing help? Then how do you help them? If you can't, you can surely point them in the right direction.
Oh yeah, so if you call our crisis line and we are not, if we're not close enough, if we're not the kind of program you're looking for, if you just want to talk, if you're calling because your friend needs resources, we have resources. We can give you all kinds of numbers to call. You can call back and get more if you need them. We can do all that on that crisis line. There's been a few times we've been able to put somebody in a hotel for a temporary, just because, we don't have beds.
Right.
We need more beds. All the shelters in the KC area they're just full right now.
And do you work with Ministerial Alliance, like you said you had to put somebody in a hotel room? So the financial contribution today and everything, you have to pay for that hotel room. I mean, it's not like it's given to you.
Right.
So, and I know the Ministerial Alliance here in town, they work with people that need financial assistance and help. A lot of times that's travelers, but I don't know if you all work with them or not, but I want people to know that you're going to help them. You're going to give them a place to stay, whether they're staying there or where you're putting them up safe plumb somewhere else at a hotel room somewhere.
I would say we will do what we can, and we'll do what we can.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's just being able to talk to somebody. You
Sure.
know, sometimes it's just the listening ear that they need. And,
Right, absolutely.
But
absolutely.
we're here.
I appreciate so much for you coming up. I was so glad we got to do this today, and we will make sure to post when we post this. This game will be archived, so I want to share that on our page and tag you guys in it that we had this conversation. And I'm gonna let you guys get off the air. I'm gonna talk about this game for the last minute and 30 because it's a good one, and we're gonna have some fun. So I'm live here. There's a minute 30 left in this first and second grade game, folks. It's a 20-19 game, and things are intense down here. And it's always going to be intense when you're playing Pleasant Hill. When you're playing the Roosters, it's always going to be intense because you always want to beat those Roosters. I have to give Coach Messenger, if I get a chance to talk to him, a hard time, as you know, we always want to beat the Roosters, no matter what, or the Chicks. I guess the Chicks are playing right now, not the Roosters. But nevertheless, see if the Lady Wildcats can pull out a come-from-behind victory. They were down 10 earlier in this game, down by 1. There's a steal back the other way for Pleasant Hill, and they rattle it home with a minute to go. And Harrisonville going to have to hurry up. Harrisonville going to have to hurry up and try to get a goal here, a bucket, and make it a one-point game and then call a timeout. Brooklyn Cecil tries to get it inside and does, but it's tipped away. Back the other way it goes. Pleasant Hill going to try to go coast to coast and try to ice this one away. Glass no good. Rebound inside, fought for. There's a scrum on the floor. Jump ball. That's one of the things you'll see at the first and second grade level. 1,000,005 times is the jump ball. Braxton and his team had about 47 of those today. And the Lady Cats with 29.2 to go in this one, down by 3. 22-19 is our score. Bringing it up is Bollinger. She's going to get it over to her teammate on the side. It's going to go out of bounds off of Brooklyn Cecil. And they're going to give it back to Pleasant Hill with 15.9. So all Pleasant Hill is going to have to do is try to dribble it out here and win the ball game. But you got to give the Lady Cats a lot of credit. These first and second grade girls, they were down 10 in this game, and they made it a one-point game and actually led by a point at one point in time. So we're winding down our third game of the day. And that will do it. Pleasant Hill going to win over Harrisonville. 22-19 is the final score. So we're going to archive this game, and we're going to get our noon game going here in just a few minutes. So we're going to take a timeout. If you want to get on to the next live broadcast, go to 4T Streaming. Click the subscribe button. You'll get updated every time we do have a live event. We'd love you guys to be a subscriber. So we'll see you guys in about 12 minutes.